Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fictional, the indie author podcast supporting indie authors from all around the world. This episode is brought to you by Rebecca Kearsells of the Rising Dawn series. You too can become a sponsor by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. And now, let's get into the show. Warning. Listening to this episode may cause your TBRs to grow in size. Hello guys and welcome to a brand new episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional. We have a great episode for you coming right up. It's another long one, but before we get into that, I'm one of your hosts, Jay O'Brien. With me always is our resident reader, Ryan. How are we going, Ryan?
I'm living the dream, my friend, living the dream. I have had it's big reading week this week. Still, I love when I read fantasy books, but I don't because it takes me a while to read them, and I can't say I've read something new because
they never end. They never end.
I'm currently reading Michael Vadney's Crownfall, which is very, very, very good. And I did finish because I read two books at a time. I read one book for one night, and the next night I read the next book. I did finish Drudge, which is the third book in the Heart Mouth Horror series, which was phenomenal. Again, I've read all three of them. They're both amazing, so make sure you check those out. I've been playing a lot of the new Lego Batman, the Dark Knight Legacy this week, and I know it makes me sound like a child, but it is absolutely amazing. It is it's one of the longest games from the I think it's TKFY Studios that do the Lego games. It spans the entire era of Batman. Your very first level is when you are a child getting ready to go to the movies, where you'll unfortunately take that fatal trip down Crime Alley. And I'm currently about 8 hours in, and I'm only at year one stuff. So it's very, very good. Lots of side quests, which I love. I spend so much time, you can smash a lot of stuff in the city and get money for it. Mm-hmm. And they even have a little joke where you're with Commissioner Gordon and you're smashing a lot of stuff, and it's like, he's like, wow, you really like to collect all the money around the city. And Batman goes, that's how I got my fortune. And it's such a good game. It's really, really good. Filled with humor. All of the villains that you love. Also finished Spider Noir this week, which was fantastic. I definitely recommend, if you're going to watch it in black and white. It was definitely made for black and white. Me and my wife watched the first 2 episodes in colour, and then the rest of the next 6 episodes in black and white. Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Nicolas Cage is a very, very good Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to mention what movie I went and saw last week because, spoiler alert for the episode that we just talked about, it does one of my most hated tropes in storytelling, which is be good for 95% of the movie and then just say it's all a dream or it's all in someone's head for the last 5 minutes, which I like to call lazy storytelling. So I'm not going to mention the movie I went and saw because I don't want to spoil it for people. So I did that. I went and saw a movie. I am going to see a horror movie called Obsession, which is based on a Zenescope comic of the same name on Sunday, which I'm really excited about. It's been given 5-star reviews everywhere. I'm very excited to see that. And just been doing a lot of indie reading and had a really, really good chat with our guest today.
Yes. That's right, guys. We are about to talk to Mike Roberts. He's been on before. He was on a story pitch episode, and he's a cool dude. So we got him back on to talk about games and his studio and his pirate short story series called Bitterwind. My goodness, what a great chat it was. What do you reckon, Ryan? How do you think it went?
Definitely. And one of the better parts of the chat happened completely off air about Player Pure Expedition 33, which is my game of the year last year, and he just started playing it, so we had a good chat about that. Yeah, he's a very intelligent man, and we did the same degree at the university. He did something with his where I didn't do anything with mine. And yeah, he talked about the whole, working, having, the perfect family, making a fair bit of money, having lots of money in savings, and still being miserable. So he decided to leave all that behind and create his own independent studio called the Kids from Yesteryear.
Or yesterday.
No, Kids from Yesterday. And sorry, it's very late in the evening. Yeah, he's a lovely guy. He's a fellow Australian. He lives about an hour and 15 minutes north of us. And yeah, it was a really cool chat. We definitely could have chatted for another 2 hours on top of what we talked for. But yeah, he's a very, very good guy. I suggest you guys support everything these guys are doing, so we can, make it easier for them to create more games and more
content.
Short stories.
Yeah.
Content.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, the only reason, the episode was over when it was is because we're very tired, just because of how late it is. But maybe and possibly, no doubt, we'll have him back on again in the future. So yeah, guys, before we jump in, remember to check out our sponsor, Rebecca Kearsells, of the Rise of Dawn series for the paranormal romance and characters modelled off Henry Cavill. Check out our honorary sponsors, Janelle Schiecke and Alexander Robb. All their links are down below. And yeah, Ryan's got
my shirt.
Buy Ryan's shirt.
Not the shirt I'm wearing at the moment, because that's the WWE shirt, but I now have 2 shirts in my repertoire. Yeah. One is living the dream. If you two want to live the dream, buy the shirt, and you don't have to pay me royalty. And 2 is simply just an idea I came up with one morning, because let's face it, if you're a guest on the show, there's a 99.999999% chance that I will buy your book or your game, and as I found out this evening, or your magazine. So yeah, and the shirt is just simply our logo, and Ryan will buy your book.
As seen on the screen. But yeah, guys, every bit of merch that you buy goes to supporting the show. It helps us keep the lights on, as they say. So yeah, if you want to support us, that's down there in the show notes. So yeah, let's go talk to Mike Roberts and suddenly be more awake and focused.
Yes.
Mike Roberts, welcome back to the show.
Jamie, Ryan, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me again.
Last time you were having a lot of fun just playing games. We will get back to that later. You did a really good job. That episode's been out, I don't know when, for a while, let's just say, or a little bit. Look, we know you pretty well, but our audience may not. So who is Mike Roberts?
Well, when I find out, I'll let everybody know. No. I'll give you my basic intro pitch. So, hey, everyone. I'm Mike Roberts, my husband, 3 times dad, and what I call a creative generalist. So, importantly for y'all, I am a writer and author as a part of the things that I do. I'm a game designer, developer, programmer, and musician. And also importantly, I am the studio head and creative director of a small indie games and fiction studio on the Central Coast of New South Wales called TKFY, or the Kids from Yesterday, where we make games and fiction. And that's basically what I want to do with the rest of my life. And our promise to you is that one day we'll make your new favorite thing.
Cool. That's a pretty solid promise. But I think you might be talking to the right audience. Well, you talk, me and Ryan are just agreeing. Like you've already sold us.
Yeah. Well, so we'll look back. So we'll have to circle back, like in our calendars. Let's block it in now. I don't know, 20 years. Well, let's start with 10 years, 20, 30, and we'll see if I make good on the promise. But essentially, like to my core, I want to make good on that promise with the the time that I've got left here in this little rock in space.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we will get into all that stuff. We really want to dive into all the stuff you're doing, but we do have icebreaker questions mandated on this show, so our audience can get to know you, and then Ryan will buy everything you do. He probably will already, if he didn't do it last time.
I've got to get one of those sweet T-shirts. Everybody, buy Ryan's T-shirt.
Yes. Which one? There's 2 now. There's the living the dream, and then there's Ryan will buy your shirt. I have
Jamie's being greedy. Let's go. Let's just pick one. Pick your favorite color. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Although we did have a funny comment in the Discord there from Trinity Cunningham who said, "Why doesn't it say unless it's a Western in
I
brackets?"
know. I saw that. I saw that the other night, and I was like, I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying. I have bought one Western book. I haven't read it, and yeah, I will get.
Ryan,
I'm trying.
I gotta ask, and I know I'm interfering with sort of the run up front, but I actually jumped into the Discord earlier this week, and I did see this thing, and I was not aware of this Ryan meme about his anti or Western stance. So I did have a question. I meant to post it. So this is a question for Ryan quickly, if I could be so bold. Stephen King's book, The Dark Tower, particularly book one, Western or not Western?
Horror. Yeah, horror by far because
Horror.
I've read it.
Okay. Yeah.
I've read the entire Dark Tower series. I get
So
where
good.
you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. It does to me. The westerns I'm talking about are your spaghetti westerns.
Spaghetti
Your
pure.
Yeah, exactly. Like your Unforgiven, your the Magnificent Seven. All those kind of spaghetti westerns. That are set in that one town that every single western seems to be set in, um, and that it's a personal thing. I just find them insanely boring. No matter how much violence there is, I'm not a massive period piece fan guy anyway, but there are things like I've mentioned at the beginning that I do. I just finished Spider Noir, and that's a period piece, and that was amazing. But yeah, actually, I'm not a period piece guy. I'm more of a like give me in the now or in the future kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been said like I'm a massive comic book nerd. I read comics every single day. If a series that I'm reading has a filler episode or an arc that's a Western arc, I will skip it regardless of. And that's a big thing because I need to read anything and everything because I need to know what's going on at all times. So that's how much I will stick to my guns, so to speak, no pun intended, in relation to not liking westerns in any format. And as Jamie has mentioned before, one of his favorite games is Red Dead Redemption 2, and apparently I'm missing a great game, but I can't do it. I can't do it.
I tried to tell him that it's technically a sci-fi because there's UFOs in it. But
Yeah, but no, it's whatever the primary part of the story. Like if there's one little section where there's UFOs, I'm sorry, it's not a sci-fi, it's a western.
you also and you also get to hunt down a serial killer.
Yeah, but it's still a western though.
Is it?
So
Is
that's
it?
that's where my thing comes from. Everyone who's been, but in saying that, we did have a guest on one of our multi-author episodes. I think it was maybe the first or second one we did.
Yeah, S.R. Stacy.
That did have yeah, that's right. She wrote a western, but she described it as there you go. I own a copy of that. I'm a massive Guy Ritchie fan, and she did say it is a very Guy Ritchie story, but the genre is western. So I thought, look,
Well,
this
she
is
said
probably
modern
one
western,
for me.
so
Modern western. This is one for me to cut my teeth on, and if I like it, I might expand. But if I don't, then yeah, I'm sticking with my guns.
challenge accepted.
Love that answer.
Anyway, Ryan, take it away with the icebreakers. I believe it's your turn first.
It is, yes, it is. Okay, so it's been a while since we've done these, so I'm looking back over the notes just to make sure that they're still the same. So first of all, Mike, who is your favorite dynamic duo, i.e., Batman and Robin, Rick and Morty,
Starsky and
Laurel
Hutch.
and Hart, Ian Hutch, all those kind of duos. Who is your favorite duo across any media whatsoever?
Mario and Luigi.
You're leading me a little bit there. This is going to sound the first thing that came to mind when you asked that question, and there's some good options in there. Mario and Luigi's obviously incredible. Some might say formative in my life. I have been a long time Rick and Morty fan. Love that kind of humor. But the first thing that came to mind for me was James and Lars from Metallica.
Yeah.
It's So I see them as a dynamic duo, and like growing up as a teenager, like Metallica was one of those like formative bands, and I felt like I don't know, when I think about dynamic duos, yes, there's the fictional sense and the cartoons and
Mm,
stuff, but when I think about a duo, they're like, for lack of a better way of thinking of it, they're like my John and Paul.
yeah. Simon and Garfunkel. No,
Yeah.
Totally.
yeah. No, that's
I,
cool.
I think I think we can accept that definitely.
Thinking
Yeah,
outside the box.
a fan too, but yeah, 100%, 100%. I think that's a very good answer.
Excellent. All right. I think I know what the answer to this question is going to be, but what is something on your bucket list?
Something on my bucket list. So there's a lot on the bucket list.
It's a big bucket.
Um, so I could rattle off a bunch of things, but if I have to pick one, I've never been to Japan, not
Oh,
yet.
nice.
And specifically, there's a specific experience that I kind of want to have, and it's rural Japan, summer, My Neighbor Totoro style, some old farm, somewhere. Probably take my family too, of course. But if I could do it solo, that'd be a cool experience as well. Just depends on how it shakes out. But that is getting over there and doing that is something. Getting to Japan, but specifically that experience is something that's pretty high on my bucket list. In short to midterm, get done list.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to
Yeah,
Japan too.
would you have that farm then be attacked by ninjas and you have to then utilize your skills and become the last samurai or a protagonist in your own video game?
What's funny about that is I've been haven't trained for a few years apart from personally, but I've actually studied ninjutsu for about 15
Nice.
to 20 years, specifically Bujinkan Ninpo Taijutsu, under the tutelage of my sensei Totoli Sensei here on the Central Coast. An incredible school. Uh, Unfortunately, like the discipline and the online discourse are very divisive, but the essence of what Hatsumi Sensei was trying to impart or has imparted over time, I think, is like wisdom, like for the
Mm.
ages. So not to go, so essentially, I hope it never happens. First of all, the first rule of being a ninja is don't be there.
Yeah.
But if it happens, all right, let's go.
Do you believe in the theory of what is it? It's like the transferable ninja or like how do you explain it? It's like there's this oldish movie called
Mhm.
Ninja Assassin. And
Right.
it's like
Yep.
when he was one of those ninjas and suddenly he can take on all the ninjas, but they're like it's like they have to share their ninjaness to like you know what I'm saying? It's like they
Yeah. Yeah.
should all be individually as brutal as that one ninja. But when they spread out, it's like they're less powerful.
So I haven't seen the film, and in my head, I'm trying to, are we talking like lineage from like master to next master, or are we talking about, sort of like shadow clone jutsu, Naruto style, where clones of themselves are more diminished? Be specific with me, Jamie. What are we talking about here?
Have you seen the movie Ryan?
Oh, I haven't.
No. It's what's funny
I
about it
haven't.
is
No.
that it's the main guy that plays the ninja is a Korean pop star. He's like, "Ah," and then but because all Koreans have to go to the military, he's learned hardcore ninjutsu with the chains with the knives, and he's doing
Hmm.
insane stuff. But basically, from memory, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, they were all part of the same clan, all got trained together, and then like I think he didn't want to kill someone or something, and he turned against the clan, and then the whole clan's now hunting him down, and he's like, yeah, So,
This
but
sounds like I have homework.
yeah,
I think I need to see this film.
it's
Then I can
I
come back and comment.
all I remember from it was the chainy bit, but then this guy um make laughing at this letter he's getting, which is basically an assassin's letter saying like you're gonna die. And then like his head gets cut in half like through the mouth, and then the tongue goes flap flap flap. That's
Ah.
all I remember from it. It's like really gory. Um,
When was the movie produced? Are we talking like
I'm
70s, 80s, more recent?
thinking 2010.
Okay, yep, 2010s. All
Let
right, yeah,
me
that's gonna be
look it
pretty
up.
ugly.
Like, yeah,
I'd look it up, but you know what? If I touch my phone, my internet's going to crap itself. So I'm got to keep that. That's my internet
Oh, I
out
was
here.
close. I was close. It was 2009.
That is very close.
Yeah. Look at me and my trivia. But it's got all the familiar Japanese people in it. Well, there's like John Wick. It's like they got John Wick 4. They got all of the Japanese actors that are famous in the one room. It's what you do.
Uh, It's not like Kim's Convenience where they got the three Korean actors in Canada and then just filled them in with Chinese people, like Simu Liu, and
Yeah,
he's supposed to be Korean but he's Chinese.
yeah,
Yeah, it's funny. I love that.
yeah. Great show.
And that comes straight from the horse's mouth from our Korean friend Chris. He did
Yeah.
confirm that there are only three Korean actors in Canada, and
Primary sources quoted.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right. Cool. Question number 3. I believe Jamie will bring up a visual aid.
aid.
A visual aid.
This is obviously a famous landmark in the United States.
And the Central Coast. No,
Jesus.
The Central Coast one's got Shane Warne, Bob Hawke, and it's a few, Trent from Punchy, a few others. But it's the famous Mount Rushmore, and these were the 4 iconic presidents at the time of when it was constructed. So given that that's what this is, what is on your Mount Rushmore of television shows? Can be from any genre, any time period, it can be animated, can be, whatever that may be, that in your opinion, your 4 favorite TV shows of all time.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big one. All right. Okay. So hopefully my future self will, respect my answers. So, Twin Peaks. Yeah, Twin Peaks.
OG.
Yep, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Twin Peaks is, it really, well, first it was my gateway to Lynch. But it's a show that I think, teaches that atmosphere can be the story, and Lynch broadly, like that it doesn't have to make sense. Like, what I mean by that, that's not the same as being abstract for abstract's sake, but that it's like it's okay to be abstract. And Miyazaki talks about that in The Boy and the Heron documentary too, that kids inherently understand things even if they don't make sense. So that's why Twin Peaks is on there. Lost, specifically maybe the first 3 seasons. So let's it's been a long time, but I was burnt by people spoiling the ending for me. But so even now in 2026, I won't speak of it. But let's just say certainly the first 2 or 3 seasons, definitely the first 2, the reason I was on the edge of my seat with it was mystery upon mystery upon mystery. And I think the reason why people might feel poorly about it after it finished and later was that it didn't necessarily deliver on the answers, front on there. It felt, and that was kind of very disappointing for people, including myself. But if I put that to one side, I felt like it was part of the zeitgeist of that, was it 2000s, late 2000s kind of era of television? And yeah, I mean, mystery and god tier foreshadowing upon shadowing, anyway. Yeah, so Lost. Go back to my childhood. Robotech, specifically the Macross saga. My gateway to anime and manga, and that cartoons essentially, or animated TV series, didn't have to be childlike, that there could be mature ideas, which was essentially radical if you think about the kinds of cartoons that kids who, grew up in the, the early 90s, were watching. It was very, very G. I remember there was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Don't Do Drugs special, and my parents sitting me down to watch that. I'm like, what are drugs? I like, you literally like educated me, in hindsight. Well, you just don't do. Okay, cool. The turtle said no. But yeah, Robotech. The love triangle, the mix of like sort of J-pop kind of music, and how, in a funny way, it kind of really informs a lot of how I think about things, personally, my aesthetic, which, leads with, music and tone. That's probably why I'm a big fan of Murakami's work, Haruki Murakami, because all of his fiction is connected to music and songs in so many ways. So Robotech, and I'll throw it open to the rest of Macross too, and similar for the Twin Peaks thing, Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Just once again, like, I've seen it so many times, and one of the things is that I've endeavored to understand it fully, and I feel like a bit of a dumbass sometimes when I come back to it, and I still feel like I don't fully grasp what's going down. But I think that's actually the thing that I love most about it, and why I kind of think about it that way, is that one, I was kind of 15 or 16. I was a teenager at the time of watching it, so it had this sort of, I could relate to being awkward and shingy, and and that, and the idea that you could be dysfunctional, but then thrust into the middle of this conflict where you also have to be the hero. And it was just one. I mean, this design still hold up today. It was off the wall. It was so weird, and it's still weird, but yeah, I love it. So that's my Mount Rushmore: Twin Peaks, Lost, Robotech, Neon Genesis.
Neon Genesis eventually, and that was the first anime I saw. I remember when I was younger, they bought the movie out into our local Hoyt, and that was the first anime movie I ever saw at the cinema, and it kind of opened my eyes up to such an amazing library of time. Well, and it's nothing like it is now. Now we have Crunchyroll, Anime and just watch a billion different types of anime. But back then, you couldn't do that. Anime was very hard to come across. It was mainly, you would buy it on DVD. I remember going to my local JB Hi-Fi when they opened up when I was in my teens, and picking up my anime from there and paying ridiculous prices because of the imports and everything like that. But yeah, that to me is, I totally agree. It does. The themes still hold up now. To me, it's an amazing hero's journey story. I absolutely can identify it. Like, I was an awkward, introverted kid growing up, and I'd like to think when push came to shove, if I was thrust into some kind of situation like that,
you were put in the back of a mecha and said, "Hey, you got to save the world."
Exactly. I'd be like, this is the moment I've been waiting for my whole life. But yeah, no, yeah. I 100% agree with that. And definitely what you said about Lost too. Me and my wife had this conversation the other day. I stopped watching Lost after season 4 when the ending was spoiled for me by people. And and Jamie knows about this, I have the one trope that I hate in storytelling, and that I hate in, it's more prevalent in movies and TV shows than it is in actual books, is lazy storytelling. And by all means, Lost is not lazy storytelling up until the end. Like, I used to love watching Lost. I used to love the flashback, the flash forward, how they would spend one episode on one character, and you would learn more about that person in that episode, so you could relate more to them and go, okay, I understand why they are. And they wouldn't stop that at just one. You'd get multiple flashbacks and then flash forwards and everything like that. And that stuff I absolutely loved. But once I found out what the ending was, I stopped watching. And if I do a rewatch, I will only ever watch up to end of season 4.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah, I hate, like, there's been some movies that I've really enjoyed over the last 4 years that I've enjoyed up until the last 5 minutes. And then it's like, it's just, the whole, it's all a dream. It's all in their head trope, which I personally think, and this is my opinion, I personally think that's lazy storytelling.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not going to name any names. I should, but I won't. But a couple of movies that I was really looking forward to seeing, even one that I actually saw last weekend at the cinema, did the same thing. And I'm definitely not going to name that movie because it's I don't want to spoil it for anyone. The whole, 95, 96% of the movie was fantastic. And I was on the edge of my seat until the final 5 minutes.
Two very quick asides. I don't know if you guys have listened to any interviews with the showrunners and creators of Lost recently, like post NDAs and stuff. Worth your time. Everything you suspected about how that show was being run and what was happening behind the scenes, accurate. Basically they planned to finish the show after 2 seasons, and the studio was like, well, we're making too much money, so we've got to try to do it, and you're under contract, so let's get it going. The other thing is a shout out to Madman Entertainment. I can't remember the name of the founders, but I feel like they're responsible for, I'm sure there are other people involved too, but like bringing so much anime culture to Australia, in the 90s. And I don't know if you guys remember that, there was an old trailer that they did ages ago, which was Experience Now, the manga effect. It was at the start of like every VHS and DVD for a while there. And it had a Sepultura song at the front. And I was talking to Dan from the Games Expo. He's one of the main guys that's involved in that last year. As a kid, he got a job there at Madman Entertainment in the 90s. And apparently, Sepultura, please, if you listen to this, just ignore it. You probably know. Apparently, I didn't have the license to that song, and I think it's "Refuse Resist" is the song by Sepultura, and that I watched so much anime off the back of that trailer and them bringing stuff out. So yeah, shout out to the showrunners of Lost for what they had to go through, and thanks Madman for everything.
I can still remember the Madman logo, that red circle with the guy in the straight jacket with the crazy look on his face. That's so how many anime DVDs I bought. I think I probably funded JB's international department for a little while. Once I started working at 15 and had my own money, and I don't pay bills. I'm 15. I think back then HMV was still a thing, and they used to have a pretty good anime collection as well. And I remember going to HMV at Parramatta once a fortnight, just blowing like a couple of $100 on, and I'd only get like 3 seasons of anime for $200 because they were ridiculously expensive because everything from overseas was at that time. But yeah, definitely I can get behind that.
Nice. Yeah, you've only got one show on your Mount Rushmore that has been repeated a few times, and that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Which was the show that was repeated a few times?
Lost.
Cool.
Oh no, Lost. Sorry. Well, someone has mentioned Twin Peaks before, though. I do remember.
Are you sure? I mean, we have done a lot of interviews.
I remember you asked the same thing. You said the recent one or the original. They said the same thing. They said the original. I was only one other person, but Lost had been.
Whoever you are, you were obviously not a quality guest because I don't know. We've had I can honestly probably sit down and name everyone that's been on. Like if someone said, because we get emails all the time about saying, "Hey, can we come back on?" You haven't heard from you in 2 years, but sure.
Not like me and Tim McKay. Not like me and Tim McKay when we interviewed him the second time. Like, I've never met you before. And he said, yeah, you interviewed me like 2 years ago. I'm like, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. I'm like, oh, yes, I did.
He pulls up his phone.
I'm hopeless like that.
No, you see, because everything before that was all in your head, Ryan. It was a dream.
It was. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's why I choose not to remember it, because it was poor storytelling.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question. One of my favorites. Dr. Emmett Brown leaves his DeLorean parked in your driveway. Where or when are you going?
Oh man. I mean the possibilities.
Mm,
And I mean where we're going, they don't need roads. Um uh Look, the so I've and part of it's like growing up a 90s kid, I think. I'd go back to uh probably California, 1984. I'd go back to
yes.
high school and I'd be going to back to back. I'd be going to see Van Halen, and I'd be going to
Yeah.
experience Kiss. There's something, and obviously our Australian experience of what the culture of America was at that time is filtered through the lens of cinema from the period
Mm,
because we didn't experience it.
Yeah.
Unless you correct me if
yeah.
I'm wrong, if you guys existed then and were at high school and things. But I think that if I had and I mean there are so many things that come to mind, but to experience like that kind of arena rock music at that period, at that
Mm,
time. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, wow, go back to the 70s, Led Zeppelin,
yeah.
see them at the SCG in Sydney, you know, go see Elvis live. I mean, there's so many cool things that you could do. People be upset, like, dinosaurs, crikey.
Mm,
Anyway, but yes, 1984, high school, Van Halen, let's go.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like me and Jamie were both musicians in our time in bands as well, and I can appreciate that. The one that I would probably put the closest, um, the closest sort of stadium feel. I've got two. I went and saw Green Day at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and it was a complete sellout. Like all the grandstands and the main floor as well. That was all general admission as well. I think there would have been at least maybe I don't know the numbers, but maybe like 50, 60,000.
Huge.
Um, and I was down on the ground with everyone, and the fact that just felt like you would look up and not one. I guarantee you, not one person was sitting down.
Yeah.
That was probably a big one, and seeing Metallica at Big Day Out. I can't remember what year. I think it was the one after Limp Bizkit. I think it was 2001.
Hmm.
That was that was packed. You could not see any free space on the ground, and all the grandstands were absolutely packed. And James Hetfield had the crowd in the palm of his hands, and NSM and Unforgiven, Fuel, like that you couldn't even hear Hetfield over the top of the crowd singing the songs, and that is what I'd like to believe that the stadium stuff in the States or over in the UK at Wembley would be like watching. But I guess that's the closest I've ever can probably say I've come to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels. I love that.
But yeah, there was definitely nothing like you know seeing Van Halen or anything like that over in the States. That would have been
Mm,
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a singular experience, which is one of the reasons why it comes to mind. As dozens of I mean, just
mm.
imagine if you had that power, like the things you could see, the things you could do.
Okay. Here's an addition question.
Please.
You've got five-ish trips. No, no, even better. It's the end of Back to the Future 3, and
Mhm.
they fly off in the train. And that train can give you four bands to bring to the future to play a rock show in any stadium of your choice. What four bands is Doc Brown picking up for you?
Ah, okay. I look, I can't not say the Smashing Pumpkins, because they are, I don't know, they've just been a part of who I am for as long as they've been a thing. I'm gonna go left of field with one of them, and it will make sense. And it's Wild Stallions. if you can, because this is obviously fiction, but yeah, imagine them fictionally in the universe of Bill and Ted, at their peak of influence and power, and we never got to see this, really in the films, but that their motto of be excellent to each other is something that is at the core of who I am as a person, and probably because I've seen that film so many times. Smashing Pumpkins, Wild Stallions. Even though I mentioned Van Halen, going back, no, I mean it's this is really tough. Oh man. Well, because we're putting together a roster here, right?
Yeah.
And you need light and shade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to say Fleetwood Mac. We need to pull up, sort of, there's something that they do that's incredibly unique. And, for my younger self, I can't not say Metallica. But I want it to the degree it's possible. We'll go late era, Masters of Puppets, with Cliff, because he was a massive part of how I chose to play music, his aesthetic and what he was about. But with the swagger of Black Album, Monsters of Rock, in the Soviet Union era, 90s Metallica. So if there's once again, fiction, Cliff doesn't die, and they go back and they do that huge thing in Russia, and that's what we get. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I feel good about that.
What you could do, I suppose, is get Doc to make a detour, pick Cliff up first, and then go and get the rest of the band from that Soviet era.
Thank you.
It's a big train, man. It's a big train.
Yeah. Why'd you make me have only 4? Let's get more. Add more carriages.
It's got to be a limit.
We need constraints, right?
Yeah. That'd be a solid show. I'd definitely go and see that.
Oh, it'd be so good. Just so good.
All right.
Next
yes, Mike. No,
Yeah,
100%. Okay, so this next question is a question that we procured off another podcast.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep it alive. So this question is simply, what the question is hot air balloon or janky sub, or as I like to call it, which way would you rather die? Would you rather fly in a homemade hot air balloon way up in the sky, or in a homemade submarine way down in the ocean depth? AKA, how would you like to die?
They both sound completely terrifying. I'd be quick to acknowledge, not in the spirit of the question, that it's a false dichotomy. There's plenty of other ways I could die. I'm thinking of a short dwarf in Game of Thrones who had a very nice potential way of dying when he was talking to, I think, Shagger about it in Game of Thrones. But I'm going to go with the submarine. There's something about, like, it's something that fascinates me, is that it feels like the sky, and even to a certain degree, like, space around the planet had been explored. And the idea that there are still, deep mysteries like right beneath us is something that's kind of, fascinating. And of course, there's always, the, sort of those early illustrations from the Jules Verne stuff, like, and yeah. Let's go sub, ocean's depths. Let's find Atlantis or whatever crazy stuff is down there, and then die.
We are
well,
back tied again.
I'm submarine as well for sure, because I think the numbers may be wrong, but it's something like 75 or 85% of what's underwater is not explored.
Exactly.
And to me, that is just blows my mind, because
yes,
like the Earth is more like a larger percent of water than it is land, obviously. So there's a lot more of it to explore. But the fact that so much of what's under the water has not, the areas have not been explored, and we're in 2026. So I could, we have technology, man. I would love to just, if I had an unlimited budget, I would make an indestructible submarine and just go around for like years and just explore our depths.
Didn't James Cameron try to do that?
He's
He
done
only
pretty
did
good.
Titanic.
Yeah, and he definitely built a bunch of technology around that. Obviously, there's that tragedy, which is still in recent memory that occurred. Yeah, I think he's very motivated by that same logic. Of course, the Titanic as well, which is just one of those cultural touchstones now. But yeah,
Well,
submarines.
I think it says somewhere, someone in an interview, he only made the movie Titanic so he could go down and explore the Titanic wreckage.
That's perfect.
How much of a Titanic historical Titanic nut he was, like that.
Apparently, no, you won't be able to go down there for much longer because it's actually drifting further away.
Okay, like with the currents.
Yeah, so it's like because those guys that went down there a couple of years back and got crushed because they were trying to go and see it, but like the water pressure was just made the sub implode. So that's kind of like I don't think we're completely there technologically yet because you got to have to be able to withstand the pressure of all that water the further down you go.
I honestly think we are there, and we're just not. The technology is just not available to us. That it's
Okay.
it's one of those things that not Australian government, because
No.
let's face it, they're not smart enough. But
is that where Howard Holt went?
I know, like I think it's one of those things where I truly believe that some countries' militaries have that technology, and they've probably been down there, but they're not
Yeah.
reporting on it because that would kind of blow things wide open. But that whole what really annoys me, and this is the one and only thing I will say about that tragedy that happened a few years ago. That wasn't the fact that our bodies, like our that area of the ocean could not be explored. It was shoddy manufacturing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, a bit of
shoddy
hubris rushing.
materials, cutting costs.
Yeah.
All of that kind of thing, and that's why those people had to unfortunately lose their lives because the company cared more about profits than they did about actually keeping people alive.
Yeah.
And that's all I will say about that because I'm not, I think that I definitely think that we have the technology to do it, and I hope one day we can explore more of the deep, so to speak.
And then you'll unleash the Kraken and
Exactly.
Oh, did somebody say Kraken?
yeah, you'll go down there and then you'll find the Kraken and you'll accidentally bring it back up and then just all of mankind will be destroyed by a Kraken. Only because you got curious, right?
I'll do it.
And then I can watch a H.P. Lovecraft book in real life, live action.
I'll share something with you guys quickly and for the audience. And depending on when this ends up airing, it may or may not be a title drop for the enormous number of people who are reading Bitterwind on Royal Road, which is our Pirate Adventure series. But loving pirates and the ocean and adventure, Krakens definitely make an appearance. And the final tale of season 1 will be dropping maybe next week or the week after. And the title drop I will reveal here for tale 10 is Space Kraken.
Oh,
and that's it.
Space Kraken. I want to
so
probe
tune in,
deeper.
it gets wild.
I want to probe deeper, but maybe I'll leave the mystery there.
Yeah, absolutely. The last tale in this season is just a license for someone who loves writing to have fun.
And on that note, I seriously do not know why I haven't put a Kraken on our story pitch game, but it's going on now.
Absolutely.
I'm just why have I never thought of a Kraken?
the edition I think will be good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We
I
got
feel like
Godzilla. We need a Kraken.
yeah, a kaiju, large creatures. Yeah, like a kraken just
Well,
naturally is a fantastic device for almost any occasion.
and who
Romance.
knows? We may get one in a secondhand bookshop.
There you go.
With a
Yeah,
pork and a gecko and an ethereal voice saying
yeah.
fight. And
Oh, hang on. I'm doing this live on the podcast. Okay, I almost forgot how to spell
Oh,
Kraken. I'm going, oh, jeez.
one of my cats has just done the most horrid turd. It's not funny. Oh, oh,
She unleashed the Kraken.
yeah. I can always tell which one it is because I have two cats. One of them is always by my side every time we record. She's always sitting here and she hasn't moved. It's my other one, the troublemaker, that has just decided. Oh God, sorry, I don't normally mention it, but it stinks.
If you need to
We
take
have
5 seconds, man, we can. It's pre-recorded.
we have this like piece of technology I like to call a litter box, which actually gets rid of the poop, should we say, within like 3 minutes after they go. But that 3 minute period between when they go and when the machine goes is just horrible.
as a former owner of cats, who has, despite the fact that I love the creatures, implemented a mandate on no future cats, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, it's the poo and the urine and the clawing of all the things and the basic, the middle finger almost in perpetuity has made them, not fans. I'm no longer a very happy to meet other people's cats and
I'm the
admire them.
same.
My two are like they're both 13 at the moment, so they've gotten past the whole we're going to tear everything to shreds.
Yeah,
They're one of them, my shadow, I call her Mavis. She is more like a puppy than a cat.
that's cool.
She comes when she's called. She literally sits on my lap. I think I mentioned it on our episode we did before, but I generally will be in bed by like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I'll read till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
And she will sit on my lap the whole time and not move. Literally today, I was up at about 8:45, and from 8:45 to right now, she has not left my side. I've been gaming on my computer. She sits next to me. We watch TV. She sits on my lap. Like she's much more like a puppy than she is a cat. Whereas my other cat is a complete cat. She like
A complete cat.
pat her for like 30 seconds and then she will either bite you or tell you to go away. She will, if she doesn't get fed at the same time every day, she will start to, push things off the counter. But yeah, but in her old age, she has calmed down a bit, so she doesn't bite as much anymore. But no, but the one that's sitting beside me right now, she is. I've never met a cat like her. She is like
That's
a puppy,
awesome.
and she honestly, like seriously, she has helped me through so much in my life, like mentally. Like she
Yeah.
is. She will sit on me, and I used to suffer from really bad anxiety and really bad depression. And she would sit on me, and within like 5, 10 minutes, my anxiety would float away. And yeah, she's amazing.
They have an amazing effect on people. They really do.
No, she does. I'd be very lost without her. She knows I'm talking about her now because her tail's going like,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's like,
But
I
yeah,
am a
anyway,
god. Anyway,
the smell.
um, let's get down to business. Why we're here? Why you're here? Tell us about the kids from yesterday, and not the kids from yesterday, the company, the kids from yesterday. Like, where did it come from? What's its origin?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess, I suppose like lots of people are probably like this, what I'm doing with TKFY is probably kind of what I've maybe avoided doing like a good chunk of my life. And that's probably where the story starts, like in that, I always loved, I love video games, and I love books and stories and fiction and comics, and I love all of it. And, growing up, so much of who I am was informed by, you know, um, Spider-Man comics and the cartoons I watched, of course, the people around me and all those sorts of things. But, and when I got into video games, as a kid, in the 90s, video games were not a thing that happened here. Now we had some key call-out studios that were awesome, but it was, summer of arcade, that indie explosion of like the 2010s, like it was not. And, at that time, it seemed incredibly far away from me as, as a person. And so, I was sort of at the time, and, I guess it's confidence, self-esteem or something like that. It seemed like not a thing that I could do. But when the internet came around, I got into, and this is, I guess, is a bit of a deep cut. But I got into like fan sites, GeoCities, this is Web 1.0. I was like pretty young at the time, but, I happened to get a computer and the internet. And I got into that stuff. In about 1999, I reached out to, do you guys remember a magazine called Hyper Magazine? At all?
100%, yeah.
Awesome. So shout out to Hyper Magazine. You can read it all on archive.org. Go out there, check it all out, put it on your iPads. It's still a pretty good experience if you can't find physical copies. But I don't know how that version of me, imagine like like a awkward 14-year-old teenager summoned the confidence to literally call up the office in Redfern and talk with Somali Chittimrong, the online editor, is going, hey, I write about video games online. I'd like to help you guys. Could I review games? I'm paraphrasing, but the call went something like that. And she's like, hey, send me your stuff. Send me an email, which I did. And, in a way that was kind of like, why does that moment kind of matter? And it will become clear as I take you guys on a bit of a journey there. But I did something that in hindsight, even my current self, I don't understand. When I think about my self-esteem in the period of time, I did it. And then, I asked, and it happened. My dad had a post office box. I started receiving brown paper packages from Hyper. And I think the first game I reviewed for them was ODT on PC, or Die Trying. I did a terrible review of Elder Scrolls Redguard. And I've got the receipts. You guys can find it on Wayback Time Machine. I was a massive Sega fanboy, so did a bunch of like, writing about the Dreamcast, which was a thing that was coming or happening, and, really riffing off a lot of the writing that was coming out of other sites at the time. But then, it was that period of time I got distracted by music, relationships, friendships, high school. That's in a funny kind of way, it took me like 15 or 20 years to kind of get back there, but that's kind of built into, sort of, TKFY. And so I'll come back to that, but essentially I had a crack at, basically I'd always wanted to do this, and I realized I had to get over my own, fears about, doing it. There's this idea of focus out there. Everyone tells you to, to focus. And if you can't focus, people try to tell you you've got something wrong with you, and, for some people that might hold true. I always struggled with that idea. I'm just like, I love lots of things. You're telling me I got to spend this life doing one thing and one thing only? No, I'm sorry. That's just not going to be a thing. And so around 2019, I had this idea, for basically stopping doing what I was doing. I'd done a computer science degree to start my game company. And then of course, I went and got a job because I was like, well, I need to show people that I can make money and pay off the degree and all this. And I convinced myself that I was doing it to, to be responsible, to learn about business and startups and things. And it's true that I learned a lot of things, met a lot of great people doing that. But the reality was that I was just scared to do what I really wanted to do. Whether it was, make games, write my own books, stories, share them with the world, and all those sorts of things. So instead, I went and had a career. And then it was 2022, I had my version of The Dark Night of the Soul. Tarantino has this interview that he's done a couple of times, and he's talked about it, and one of the core takeaways, from him at the time was like, I'm like, okay, if Tarantino can feel lost, at some point, and then he can turn it around and go and do all the things that he did, it got me wondering, like, what if, what if it, all the wisdom, all the things that people tell you you're supposed to do, Nike, just do it. It's become a meme. It's so trite. It's almost like watered it down. But the question I kept coming back to, because I felt deeply that I was supposed to do more than be like a programmer at a corporate company and take home a certain number of figures, there were things that I wanted to do. And that led me to my version of A Dark Night of the Soul, where I'm on a train on the way back from Tugra. Life's good, on paper, right? I'm respected at the company, golden boy there. The money's good. If I never left, I'd still be there. My wife's happy. I've got 2 kids, they're happy, healthy. And I felt guilty, honestly, at the time, because I'm like, there are people in this world who are doing it really tough. I genuinely don't deserve to be sitting on a train, well fed, with plenty of money in the bank, upset, with or feeling depressed, and so it was that moment where I'm like sitting there going, okay, what's going on? Like, why? And the reality was that I was lying to myself and lying to everyone around me. I'd turn up to work, put on the facade, smile, do the job. It's what you do, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was like I couldn't lie anymore. I'd abandoned my first attempt in 2019 pretty quickly. 6 months, I went part-time at the job I had at the time to try and do it, and I just did nothing, completely stalled. And it had this moment, and then in late 2022, early 2023, I sat my wife down and was like, look, I know I don't really deserve to sort of say this, but I'm not happy. I want to go a different way. When I look at my kids, I want to be able to tell them and mean it, that they should spend their time doing the things that they want to do with the people they want to do it with, and that they should follow their passions, they should follow their dreams. And that can be that might lead them to some places that are uncomfortable, hardship, all those sorts of things. Like, I've got Bukowski's Go All the Way quote on my speaker just over here. And it's like, so it's hard, but I think a life pursuing meaning is the sort of thing that you want to share with your kids. And I was like, I can't be full of shit, to my kids, and so I was like, here's what I'm going to do. It's like, okay, my pitch at the time was, okay, I've got a clear vision of how I want to spend my days, right? So the genesis of TKFY, the kids from yesterday, and the things that the products we're making, the people we're trying to find, and all that sort of stuff, is rooted in essentially one idea, which is, how can people, or how can I spend the rest of my life having the perfect day every day? And the challenge I had at the time was I was spending 8 to 10 hours a day lying to myself and other people about where I was spending my time and my labor, all because I was too scared to try something else, to just go a different direction. And that sort of became, sort of that was the dark night. So that's the moment where it's like, okay, I know I tried before. I'm not the same person in 2022, 2023 that I am in 2019. I've grown. I've got to do this, not just for myself, but to stop making excuses. Because I was at PAX in 2023, and I was sitting next to a friend's good mate, and he's like, "Oh man, I'd love to do what you're doing." And I just started at the tail end of 2023. I had runway for 9 months. And so there was I was there trying to understand what to do. And he's like, oh, I'd love to do it, but I have kids, so I just can't. And in that moment, like, there was a sense of like, well, I flipped it, and we talked about it in real time. I was like, well, no, you have kids, so you must, that's one of the core things. So, essentially the Kids from Yesterday is an indie games and fiction studio by design. And, I don't know if you guys have done the math on your life. I was very inspired by an essay on the weeks of your life by I can't remember his name, but he does the Wait But Why blog. And, if I'm healthy and lucky, it's, 10 to 15 projects if they take 3 to 5 years. And, before, you head off into the sunset, whatever happens next. And, I wanted to build a company that I wanted to work for that could achieve the objective that I talked about earlier, which was live the perfect day every day. Where, what if we had a company that was private, that had the right incentives, that would ultimately be the best place for creatives to come, make things and grow into whatever their next steps are as well. How can we create like a benevolent studio that might do that? I'm like, well, how am I going to get anyone to follow me when this is 2023. Like, these are the things I'm thinking about. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm an okay writer. One of the challenges, and you guys would know this, being creators of anything, is, you worry a lot about what people think. And, the best advice that I've read about it says it's not up to us to decide. The Beatles didn't do it. They just wrote lots of songs and the audience kind of decided, and so, the vibe was, I don't necessarily think I'm going to be the world's best writer. And maybe there'll be people who love what I write, and what I make. I might not be the world's best game developer. I don't know, things we'll see, but there's a creative confidence that I want to explore. And if I go first, maybe I'll find more people who want to join this thing. And if I want to serve, genuinely serve like our customers, readers, players, on the way, if we start with that intent, if I just keep going, maybe we'll get there, and so that's a long-winded sort of way of saying, we just want to make games and fiction forever. I personally think that retirement is a fad, and it defers people living their life until later. I think they should live it now.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's everyone has this idea of how your life is supposed to go. You're supposed to go to school. You're supposed to, either do a trade or go to university or college in America, get married, have kids, work, and then retire, and then do what you spend your retirement doing what you love.
Yes.
When I think that is such an outdated theory. I was lucky that I had supportive parents. I was in a punk rock band for 20 years, from 99 to 2019. And my parents were, like, for the first year of our shows at every pub in the city that we played, my parents were there. Both of them. Mum and Dad were there at every show, and, supporting me 100%, for the first year. Well, to be honest with you, for most of the 20 years, we didn't make money, but we had fun. And it was something I was passionate about because I was doing the writing. And, I can 100% agree. You worry, I spent the first couple of years worrying about what people would think of things that we made. And then I stopped caring. I'm like, you're exactly right. It's up to the people that like it, that listen to it, that make it. And yes. I just remember the very first show that we ever played, where we were the first band on. We were the opening act, and we had the whole venue packed. And that was, to me, was like, okay, that was peak. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that all these people showed up for the opening band to watch us, when we were on at like 7 o'clock on a Friday night, and all these people, worked and then come straight to see it. So that was, I 100% can agree. And I think that the story that you just said is very inspirational, and I think a lot more people should think like that. And like, you're 100% right. You can have everything. You can have, lots of money in the bank. You can have a perfect family and everything, and you can still be miserable. And not enough people deal with that because they feel like they have to fit themselves into this idea of what everyone thinks life is. Rather than fitting life ideal, just doing what you do will make your life a million times better.
I think you're circling like a lot of really interesting things, and thank you for your acknowledgement. Too. It's some of it, like, we've sort of had this bait and switch with money. I think life is there's a difference between, I think, money and value. And value is sort of something that it comes from meaning, and like and the thing is that, like, everyone to some degree, and this will sound really dramatic, but like, from the individual's perspective, everyone's suffering. It's the comparison that I think draws people into traps, because it's one person suffering more than another person, where it doesn't matter, to that person, it's local, to them. And there's something, there's an author and speaker whom his philosophies have been really useful. A guy named Naval Ravikant. He was an early investor in, I think it was AngelList, which was like a way of connecting angel investors with startups. And bucket-loads of money. He can kind of do what he wants. But one of the things, there's a talk that he did that left a real big impression on me, and it goes to what you were saying, Ryan, about sort of like the fear side. And at the time, back in 2022, 2023, I'd actually made myself like a YouTube playlist called Mindset, which I still have, which had a bunch of different videos and, small sequences, everything from Shia LaBeouf's Just Do It talk to, Jim Carrey talking about stuff, just to culture my thinking that more is possible, and in Naval's talk, he was talking about how, sometimes in life people, they take a path and they get to the top of a mountain, and they get to the top of that mountain and they realize that where they want to be is like over here, but there's like no way to get from where I am now to here. And you might be super successful. You might be really good. You could be like in the greatest punk band in the world, but you're like, shit, I should have been prog metal. Okay. And it's like, but my whole identity is this. And it's like, use any analogy that you're an author, but you really wanted to do comics, and your art's actually great, but you hid it from everyone. And, he's basically, the essence of what he said is, it's really hard for people to go all the way back down because of the social costs, the fears, the doubts, and all those sorts of things. But one of the things, if I had a superpower, it's simply the courage to look at those kinds of moments and make a choice, come back down, go back to zero, because if is the thing, and this brings it back to, sort of like the hyperactive website Teenager 1999. Literally, there's a note still on my phone somewhere, which says words to the effect of, you can do amazing things. And it's literally the Wayback Time Machine, every link to every article of the person that I was at that time, writing, games, media, journalism for the time. And like, I was full of the attitude culture of the writing at the time, like Sega fanboy, just, really riffing off the magazines that I'd grown up right. Journalism was nowhere to be seen in gaming, in my opinion, at the time. I'm sure there were lots of great writers. We're a different place in 2026. But, the fact that I'd done that was like, well, and this brings it back to sort of the trite, just do it kind of philosophy, which is like that in that moment, I just did it, and it kind of worked, for all the reasons I got distracted and whatever. I was like, what if I could do it again? And so it's really that idea that, if you wanted to be somewhere else in your life, it's like having the courage to like accept that first of all, and then make different choices, sort of come what may. And that's Bukowski's, piece essentially in his essay on Go All the Way.
Definitely.
And rant.
And it can be what people and what people a lot of people, what stops a lot of people is simply the fear. Like you said, that guy that you was sitting next to your pack, I can't do this because I've got kids, because it's the fear of I need to provide for people,
Yes.
not just myself. I need to provide for people. I've got bills to pay. I've got mortgage. I've got rent, and that is a insanely scary thing.
100%.
To put it in perspective, 5 years ago, I was working 7 days a week. I was working Monday to Friday on a customer service job, and then I was working 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday, driving for Uber, right? And so I did that for way too long. I did it for, I think, 6-7 years. I'm not working at the moment. I'm on a disability pension because unfortunately I lost my leg 2 years ago, my left leg. I'm not working, but yet I'm living better now than what I was back then. And I purely put it down to the thing that I have more time now, yes, but I'm devoting that time to doing things that I love, like reading and reviewing books and doing this podcast.
Meaning.
Exactly. And I don't care if one person watches our episodes or listens to our episodes or a million people do. I just love what I do because we get to help so many people get their message and their product out there. Because I believe that the world that we live in, everyone's drawn to the wrong kind of technology. The amount of, and this may be old man Ryan talking right now, but
come on, old man Ryan, preach.
The amount of times I went out, Tuesday, I had to go out. I've got a support worker that picks me up and drives me these places. I had to go to a few different pharmacies, whatever. The amount of people that nearly walk into me because they were on their phones, just walking down across the road or walking, in through the shops on their phone, and I'm trying to dodge people in my wheelchair. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to dodge people. We need to get more people doing things like reading, like taking, having faith in not just independent authors, but the whole independent scene. Independent gaming, independent
100%.
reading, independent everything. Because the amount of time that you can see young people now spending scrolling on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever that may be, you could probably read a book in the amount of time that they do that per day.
100% you could.
So much more out. I've read 21 books this year so far, and every single one of those I have rated 5-star because every single one of those has given me enjoyment, and I feel like I'm a better person for reading them. And that is what the younger generation need. And the same with what you're doing with TKFY. That I've played so many games in my lifetime. And it's the independent ones, the smaller studios, the independent studios that I've taken a chance on. I've gone on Steam and I've gone, oh, wow, this looks pretty cool. Yeah, sure, it might only be, $20 as opposed to 120 for the latest game. But I've gotten so much more fun, so much more enjoyment, and so much more emotion and feeling out of those games than the big $120 game, which is why I want more people to get onto that.
Oh, 100%. There's something that I like to say. I'm not super active on social. I've got a mixed relationship with it, necessary evil perhaps, but some really cool things that can come out of it, like us meeting, seeing a random Instagram post about story pitch and like, okay, I could do that. That sounds fun. Let's jump in and have a go. So there's some great things about it. But when I'm on social media and, I try to acknowledge like what other people are making, what they're doing. And something we do is like hashtag love indies. And the idea is, if you love indies, support indies is kind of one of our tags. And, not only, so obviously independent fiction, comics, I know a lot of people now in the indie game scene, having been in it for a few years. And one of the things that's like that you called out there, Ryan, is like the insane amount of creativity, this is what you're alluding to, I think, and experiences that small creators and developers, writers, programmers artists can make in this very unique medium. And I'm really proud to be, a small part of like what I feel is like a thriving, and growing Australian and New Zealand like indie scene. Like when I look at, my peers and what they're making, whether they've been in the space for 10, 15 years or, like their first time, developers, maybe they've just done a game dev degree and they've got a small group of people together. They formed their studio for the first time. Like, one of the things that I love about, and I love all the stuff, but one of the things that I particularly love about video games, just, that just, I don't know, just brings me to life about them, is it's such a multimedia medium, in a way that film isn't, in a way that books on their own aren't, it's this, it's coming together of, music and art and story and camera. And, it's like, it's the ultimate amalgamation of like all of the creative arts that we've been putting together for like I'll say the last 100 years, but obviously it predates lots of things, and when it's done right, and I don't mean with the right budget, like you can have a small budget game, and when you see the way people talk about the experiences and what they do for people, like in their lives, not just for people, and I'm not talking about the people who made them, because yes, of course that's a thing too, but for the players of these games, how much, and you go to events like the Games Expo, you go to PAX, and you see people coming out to check out the indie games, you see people coming out to talk about the games that they love and the fandom and all this sort of stuff. And this is part of the thing, circling back to, I think what, drives me and what we're doing is like, is this idea of like, of what if, and I think I said on the last podcast, like, what if your favorite author, your favorite showrunners, script writers, your favorite game developer just didn't make the thing that is the cornerstone of like who you are. What if Van Halen never formed? And this is the thing. There's this great, Japanese idiom, ichigo ichio, and it's like this idea of the moment. And the way I think about that is like you can never come back. It's this bittersweet, melancholic kind of feeling, but the sense of like understanding that us being here on this podcast, the person who is watching this, that they have somehow found their way, here in this moment, like it is like a special kind of magic, that I think doesn't get enough acknowledgement because it seems boring almost. It seems obvious, that, oh, well, people are here. No. It's like the most important thing, and I feel like I'm getting, on my soapbox about it, but it's like bringing people together, having moments, what if the right person just, didn't text, what if they had mobile phones and, Eddie Van Halen never texted David Lee Roth back. I don't know what that looks, I don't know what that looks like, but I know that one of my favorite periods of rock history wouldn't exist. What if Patrick Rothfuss never finishes the last books in the Kingkiller Chronicles, right? We've got these, incredible books. Like that's probably my favorite piece of fantasy fiction of the last, I don't know. It's, well, hands down, it probably is my favorite, probably of all time, these days. But what if he never sat down to give us the first book, let alone the second? I'm whinging about the third one, Doors of Stone. Come on, Rothfuss. But and I think that hopefully what comes across is I'm such a fan of the things that we make, as authors, writers, musicians, and things. And at the core of what we're trying to do, and what I hope more people, and selfishly, I want other people to make my new favorite thing. So, like, hey, let's build a company to go do that. And maybe we'll fail. But what if we succeed? Wouldn't that be something?
That's it.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to, so many people don't even try because they're scared of failure. But what if?
Yeah.
That's what I always say. What
They're
if?
selfish. I want to read their book.
I've said it on the podcast multiple times. I used to read nothing but traditionally published books. Nothing but, until I started this podcast. Now, in the last 18 months, I bought one traditionally published book, and that was a recommendation by our friend Janelle Schiecke. And everything else has been indie, and
Yep.
everything I've read has been indie. And if I didn't if we didn't start doing, going back to what you were saying, if we didn't start interviewing authors, I would never have discovered this amazing world of independent authors that are just
Oh, Ryan,
phenomenal.
you're circling
Yeah.
something that's really present, like in the current moment, which is the sense that, like, in 2026, with everything that's available to us, with the internet, the tools, the fact that a lot of, even the writing tools that we use day to day, or graphic design tools, art tools, so much of it is like sub $50 or free.
Mhm.
Essentially what I'm getting at is, like, the only reason for people to not make their thing, right, is simply that they choose not to make their thing. Now, there might be a huge number of good reasons, like you're talking about, your fear, all the things, but ultimately, it's just it is a choice, and I get that it's a hard choice. But that's one of the things that was really confronting, was this isn't the mid '90s where you still needed a record deal to be a successful band at that time. If you were going to make it as an author, you had to have regular distribution. You couldn't just go to Royal Road, Drive Through RPG. You couldn't, even unpolished, in 6 months, produce a manuscript and just start to sell it to people, whether it's through any of the online platforms. You start up your own Shopify store, sell it as a PDF.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to your point, like, the whole, it's 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 always going to be hard, to be a creator, right? To make things, and to put it out there, and it always has been. But it's, at the same time, it's never been easier, to actually functionally go and do it. And I mean, yeah. So it's like, honestly, another read is, I ran out of excuses.
100%. No, that's it.
Um, let's talk about some of the creative things you've done. So I'm going to bring up an image because Ryan loves art.
Mhm.
Ah, I do love this art.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So this is a piece done, by one of my co-conspirators, brothers. So TKFY is, in another way of putting it, is kind of, a promise I made to my best friend, or to two best friends, make a promise to each other that, life gets complicated, but we're going to find a way to build a company, together, so that we can one day work together full time, making the things. We think there's a
Yeah.
unique superpower. That's myself and Richard O'Regan. His brother, Greg, so Richard's a graphic designer, UI, UX expert, and illustrator artist, incredibly talented. His brother, Greg, is also an artist, and Greg O'Regan, Nerd Roaring, put together this piece for us for the cover, of Bitterwind season 1. He's a phenomenal artist. Check him out on Instagram. It's probably the best place, at Nerd Roaring. In my, like, he is just so incredible, as a talent. So it was a great pleasure to work with him on this brief and put it together. But I mean, is there anything specific you want to know? Because I can tell you in all the, like, why this exists. Because I love it.
I think
Ryan?
just like, yeah. So, so take it, pretend that we're not familiar with any of this. So,
Sure.
yeah, this is someone who just logged on, or they're watching, or they're listening to the
Yep. They've
episode.
skipped ahead. Yeah, they skipped the deep sea stuff, and they're like, oh, I see a pirate ship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just why don't you give us a bit of background on what the project is?
Yeah, sure.
You've explained how your company came to be, and
Yep.
your origins. So why don't
Yep.
you tell us a bit about Bitterwind, what it is, and
Yep.
how it came to be?
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so the top level pitch, like all indie authors and makers, we're still refining, but essentially, Bitterwind is a pirate adventure anthology. We say it's Sea of Thieves, meets Monty Python meets Discworld, but better. It's ridiculous, like the claim I just made. Have you got any ham? And so in that, if you like Monty Python, if you like pirates, and you like monsters, and as much stupid adventure as you can cram into a short story, that is Bitterwind. Now, framing it in TKFY, okay, we got this commitment that we want to make people's new favorite thing. So it's like, okay, it's very like, and I'm not saying that we're Liefeld and McFarlane when they're forming Image Comics, but I loved, a bunch of interviews, with Todd, and one of the things that really stood out to me is when they formed, like, well, what do we got? Like we got to takes, it takes time to make something that's good. So what's around? And legitimately 20 years ago, Richard and I had this idea for this pirate graphic novel, which we called Bitterwind. And at the time, like, we were barely out of school. We hadn't had any professional careers. And it was really challenging, I think, for two best friends at the time to like work out how to work with each other. Like honestly, there's a few success stories that I've heard around, like Chaos Theory Games, three best friends. They're a Sydney-based indie game studio. Check out their games; they're awesome. But one of the coolest things about them and their origin story is that they were three best friends that met in high school really early, and somehow they found a way to work together, and they've been building their studio successfully for almost over 10 years. I understand how hard that is because didn't matter how much we loved each other at the time, trying to make a thing. It was just I'd write the scripts, how do you get the art done, etc. Anyway, so come back and I was like, man, I love this name, I love these stories. And for me, the reason why it came to be is I didn't want to leave this on a shelf somewhere. The vision was a graphic novel. The vision is still one day that we will find the right collection of people to make that a thing. And my vibe, as you remember before, was what can I do, and to start the journey? And I was like, okay, I love short stories. I love short fiction. Okay. So in lieu of having the perfect scenario where I've got the exact right artist who's on board to partner with me to script it out, storyboard, and put together, full on graphic novels, where could we start? And so that's where I hatched this idea of seasons of Bitterwind, where there's a broad exploration of this pirate world, lots of world building, but each story is largely self-contained. And it's silly, it's fun, and it's free. You can go read it on Royal Road now. And once we finish the first season, we hope to then continue to tell other stories in our magazine, which I'm sure we'll have a chat about. And ultimately, we'll move on to season 2 and keep telling stories in that world. One of the things we suck at, which we acknowledge, is marketing and trying to tell people about what we're making in a noisy world. So we really believe in Bitterwind. We think it's a lot of fun. And, one of the reasons, like, I just think that we can take ourselves too seriously sometimes, and in our fiction as writers, we can as well. I'm always aiming for transcendence in what I'm doing, but sometimes you just need to have a good time, and that's what Bitterwind is.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm sure Jamie will link the everything in the show notes. He does all that behind the scenes things. But yeah, we want to try and get as many eyes on Bitterwind as possible, so that we can get season 2 and we can get a lot more people excited for future projects from you guys as well.
We're bullish, like we're bullish about getting a physical copy done at the right time as well. We've had a bit of experience with manufacturing through publishers with the magazine and things, so we know sort of a little bit more about what's involved in that process. But one of the cool things about Bitterwind is it's a thing that we can make and ship to readers and players who love the sort of stuff that we're making relatively regularly, as opposed to video games, which can take 12, 24, 30, 3 years plus to bring around to people. We want to try some different things that we can get to people more quickly.
Wait. You're telling me games can't be made overnight?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, that is what I'm saying, Jamie. What is incredible though is I don't know if you guys have ever done a game jam before, but it is insane to see, with tight constraints and deadlines, what a bunch of creative people can do. But obviously, there's a big difference between that and something that's sort of more polished and ready for an audience. But yeah, it's definitely a longer journey, but it's a lot of fun.
You should bring back Pong, man. You should bring back Pong. Like
Pong, Pong with that'd be a great pitch. Pong with extra steps.
But do it with like pirate ships, but like still from top view down. Just they go back and forth firing cannons at each other.
Do you know what's funny about that is shout out to a good friend of mine, Simon Harcher, who's working on his game Parasite Attack 1984. He had this idea for like a wild, like, think those Blood Bowl Warhammer type games, right? But basically it was post-apocalyptic cricket. And you got a basic working prototype of it. But I was like, dude, I'm so inspired by this. I'm pretty sure season 2 of Bitterwind needs to have like on deck cricket with absolute, chaos and things like that. And some of my family are really into cricket. I never have been. And I happened to watch like the Big Bash and I was like, I actually kind of dig this. So yeah, stay tuned for potential cricket in season 2. Now to get there, we've got to get there. So, if you love indies, support indies.
Yeah.
I want to see someone, hit a 6, someone jumping overboard to catch it and then get eaten by a shark or something, as they call it. That's the kind of cricket I love.
My promise to you is to make that moment happen in the most Bitterwind way possible.
Nice. I like it. I used to, I'm not a massive cricket guy myself, but my dad was, and every Boxing Day, my wife hates cricket, but she loved my dad. We used to go up to my dad's place every Christmas, and every Boxing Day, me and him would just sit there and watch the Boxing Day test, and she would just be asking questions, and my dad would be like, "Shh, cricket time." You talk during the ads. But
this is the thing. This is the thing that I loved about. So I was, I always give credit where credit's due. I was inspired by, this idea over there. I was like, really, we haven't really, because a lot of world building stuff is like, depending on your approach to it is like, okay, they've got, there's this idea, and I can't remember the person whose video I was looking at, but it was somebody else's idea. And I was like, that's a really good point. It's like, if there's currency in the world, like who mines the coin? Where does it get printed? Why does it get printed that way? Like there's these deeper things which allow you then to tell fully formed characters and things. And one of the things that I loved about, being inspired to bring cricket to Bitterwind in the future is it's so totally jams with this sort of irreverent kind of humor, where you've got filthy, dirty pirates, but then this ritual around, getting the whites out, being clean, getting on deck, the ceremony of it. Like, to me, the humor, if I get it right, hopefully writes itself. But yeah, I can't wait, because the ritual of sports juxtaposed with pirate chaos. Maybe I have to call it Bitterwind plus cricket. Find a new audience of cricket players. Watermelons on the head, I'd go all in.
Well, I mean, it sounds pretty good, like Bitterwind Big Bash.
Yeah. Thank you. Damn it. Do I have to give you points now?
No. No.
Special thanks.
Take it. It is yours.
That one's on Jamie.
Yeah.
That one's on
Big
Jamie.
Bash. I love that. That's so good.
Look, we have been talking a while, but I want to keep going. So before we play Story Pitch, why don't you tell us about the magazine that you're putting out?
Yeah. So
you mentioned it a little bit on the Story Pitch episode. I remember you talking a little bit about it, but if you want to give us a bit more information about it and where we can get it and all that kind of thing, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Look, so the top level is this is our magazine. It's called Adventure Calls. It's an indie games fiction magazine, and the basic idea is like, I love magazines, and I love games, and I love fiction. So it's like, if we're going to build a studio that does these things, and in that line of like, how can we bring something that we think is like meaningful, that is a thing that we feel uniquely positioned to do, that is something we want to make, that we think, readers and players of games and things would want to read. And, essentially to start with, the idea was kind of an experiment, which is like, one, do we love making this? Because in games generally, like in a studio, there's such a broad cross-section of skills. So it's like, if we've got all these transferable skills, how do we get people shipping meaningful things to customers, fans, players, readers, regularly, read, not every 3 to 5 years when we ship a game. Totally valid way to go about doing things. Just it's a bit long for us, because, we're indie, we're making a bunch of, sort of strategic bets around the products we want to make, that we can make. And because we don't know what's going to land with people, but we know that when we want to make something, we really want it to be something that genuinely we feel adds value to their lives. And so, yeah, essentially it's a magazine that's got a bunch of fiction. It's got what we call a lost tale in it. So linking back to Bitterwind, there's a story in here called Into the River Tossed. And the only place you can read this Bitterwind story is in Adventure Calls magazine. And we do interviews with indie developers because we think that magazines and physical media in particular is like the best proscenium through which people can experience things. Obviously free is awesome. The internet is great, but there was something about how it felt to read about a game for the first time in something physical. It elevated it. And so I think that there is this strong feeling in the culture coming through from more of that experience. And so we're banking like long term on, trying to get 2 to 3 issues out a year, trying to find a way to get that done, find the audience for it, keep making it into the future. But essentially, if you love magazines, you might love Adventure Calls.
Cool.
Oh, actually, I should say, by the way, you can get it. I'll announce it here too. I made a promise back when we started, when we first shipped the magazine, that you'd be able to get it for free. And that is going to be happening next week. So by the time this airs, you should be able to get it for free from the Internet Archive. It is the digital version of the magazine, which is usually $9.99 on the website. We're giving it away for free. You can get it from archive.org, or you can sign up and become a subscriber to Adventure Calls. It's free. Literally, just give us your email. We'll talk to you only when we're shipping new issues. And yeah, anyone who subscribes will either send you a copy, or you can go get it from archive.org. And the best experience is physical. And the idea there is that not everyone can afford to support, even if they want to, but we want to share what we're making with people. And our hope is that over time, if people love what we're making, they'll think about, patronizing, through, buying a physical copy and supporting the studio ultimately. So, yeah, look out for that because it's been on my to-do list for a little while, but because we're, making video games and doing other things at the same time, sometimes I literally can't get it all done. But yeah, so you can get Adventure Calls for free. If you love it, think about supporting us by buying a copy.
Yeah, do it. I think his eyes are low. He must be looking at stuff.
And just to be clear, technically right now in this very moment for Ryan, you can't get it for free there. You can put your email address and subscribe, and I will send it to you later. But yeah, I'm in the process of.
I want a physical copy of it. I want to buy a physical copy of it. So where do people go if they want to buy a physical copy of the magazine?
Yeah. So you go to tkfy.co, and there you can get straight to the shop, or shop.tkfy.co if you want to go directly. We've only got a few things in there: Adventure Calls magazine, and then some pins and things like that. All proceeds basically go to help make the next thing.
Cool.
So I encourage people to get on there and buy a physical copy because yes, free stuff is awesome, but still, if you can afford to, if you've got a spare $10 or whatever that may be, jump on and pick it up. And I mean, I grew up on, when you mentioned Hyper, my ears pricked up because I used to have, a subscription to Hyper for about 6 years in a row. We're back in the day where you had to send a check into the office, not just pay online or anything. But yeah, I used to love Hyper. I used to get that every month, and yeah, it's nothing like getting a magazine and reading it in your hand. So try and support when you can.
That's it. Cool. Well, I'll leave all the links down in the show notes as I always do, but let's play a game that I know you've played before. Only this time it's just 2 rounds. I'll bring up the graph because it's a new graph. Ta-da!
Hey, look at that.
So, for those who may or may not know, the game is called Story Pitch. We have a setting, a genre, a main character, and a crazy addition. Mike's played this before, but he's going to give us a number between 1 and 12 for each category, and then he's going to pitch us a story. Now, there's 4 graphs, my friend, so you can choose any of them. You can choose to play off one graph if you want, but pick your graph, then give us 4 numbers for it.
Let's get wild. All right, so I got a D4 here as a D&D player. Let's go with the graph 4.
All right.
And you want me to just give you
just smash
4 numbers
out.
between 1 and 4? Okay,
yeah, smash them out.
All right, so we got a 1.
Yeah.
We got a 9.
Yeah.
We got a 5,
Yeah.
and we got another 9. So I'll
All right.
re-roll. I'll re-roll.
Oh, okay.
11.
11. Okay, so the crazy edition is 11. All right, let me consult my graph. Okay, so your setting is a cooking class, my friend.
Perfect.
And
Cooking
your
class.
genre is mystery.
We're on graph
Cooking
4, Ryan,
class.
yeah?
Oh, graph 4, my bad. Sorry. Your
That's it.
genre is supernatural.
Supernatural.
Yep, cooking class.
That's supernatural.
Supernatural.
I'm too busy buying the magazine. I apologize.
Um, your main character is a hypnotist.
And your crazy edition, which is someone or something that must appear in the story. I think we had this one on your story pitch episode, but it is a plague.
Another plague.
A plague.
So you've got a
Okay.
cooking
On both
class.
your
You've got a cooking class. The genre is supernatural. Your main character is a hypnotist, and it's got to have a plague.
Okay. 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 So it's cooking class, supernatural. Main character is a hypnotist, and it has to involve a plague. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be generous and you can choose what plague you like.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Flexibility there is much appreciated. Okay. So our main character, her name is Dulcet. And Dulcet, when she first contracted the plague the first time, she didn't really understand how she became so persuasive, but she did. Now, what people didn't know about Dulcet, apart from the fact that she contracted the plague several times, which seemed to be fatal to almost everybody else except our exceptional main character, is that she secretly loves ramen. And with her newfound powers, she decided that the number one way that she could, change the world for the better, was to create a cooking school specializing in ramen.
Go with it. Go with
it. And the in her ultimate ambition is to dethrone McDonald's as the ultimate fast food franchise in the world by the proliferation of ramen fast food through her cooking school, where through her hypnotic powers, she has attracted the ultimate cast of TV cook chef celebrities to maximize attention on her and her chain of restaurants at perfecting a ramen. I'm trying to think of a name for my very loosely cobbled together sequence of things, and we'll call it Dulcet Cooks.
Excellent. Coming to Call to Adventure magazine very soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely that's top of my list of short stories to write for the next issue. I do like the idea of a female hypnotist named Dulcet, though. That might stick. That might stick. Yeah. Everything else, I'm sorry, listeners.
That's all right. All right, let's bring it home with one more round. Pick a craft, give us the numbers, and
let's do it. All right, I'm pumped. Let's see if I can improve on that. So graph 2, first roll.
Graph 2,
is 6.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
1 and 7. Did I already say 7? No.
No, you didn't. 6, 11, 1, and 7. Although it doesn't really matter if you double up because it's all going to be different. But
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Okay, there's
different
multiple
grade.
in the same. Right.
yeah,
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
yeah, yeah. All right. So your setting
Mm.
is an enchanted forest.
Oh, wonderful.
And what was the genre again? Sorry,
11?
what number?
11?
11. Your genre, furry sleuth. So anthropomorph. I can never say
Anthropomorph.
that word.
I think
Did you say
Like
yeah, the other word for it is xenofiction. So it's like anthropomorphic animals, like
yeah, yeah,
Zootopia. Yeah,
yeah? Fairy sleuth. So we got
yeah,
detective elements, but anthropomorphic
yeah,
characters. Got it.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so your main character is a vigilante.
and your crazy edition was 7, wasn't it?
Yes.
That is a glee club.
A glee club. Oh, I love it. You,
Oh,
you've
okay.
got a vigilante in an enchanted forest.
Mm,
It's got to be anthropomorphic xenofiction, furry sleuth kind of stuff. And you got to have a glee club in there.
got it. Got it. So Knox wasn't sure how he went from participating in his glee club to finding himself dressed as a furry animal in an enchanted forest. What Knox did know was that he was absolutely 100% not welcome as the as the furries of the enchanted forest chase him, begin to hunt him after they recognize my ex. The first part was really good. Now it's unraveling very quickly. As I'll dot points pitch. It writes itself. Cute furry cuddly things, enchanted forest, out for blood, Five Nights at Freddy, but more like Freddy Krueger as they try to chase Knox down. He's a vigilante in a situation not of his own making, but gee, he's got a great voice.
I like it. I like it. Um, yeah.
And in terms of it's a title, fucking Sundays.
Oh, that's funny. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the hardest brief that I've read today.
Yeah, it's man, some of the stuff that people pick, it doesn't line up. I think, whoa, the episode's not out yet, but it's either been out now at the time of release or whatever. But
Mm,
what's his name? Luke Wilson, not Owen Wilson's brother, Luke Wilson, but there's an author called Luke Wilson.
right.
Yeah, he had a very weird group of things to work with. But
Yeah. You know what's funny about story pitch is with Bitterwind for some of the seasons, one of the ways in like as a sort of a writing device, like one of the challenges with the blank page, right, is like it could be anything. It's infinite. Anytime I was stuck, I had a big table of themes and I'd literally roll dice on it to try to find a path forward on a particular thing. I was writing under some self-imposed deadlines
yeah,
and aiming for certain things, and I found it really helpful because it took like everything down to a small set of things, and then once you had a couple of these ideas together, suddenly these stories would emerge, and some of my favorite ideas from season 1 emerged from rolling dice on a table and then getting wild with it. So yeah, it's cool to have that as coming into story pitch.
yeah. Excellent. Well, we've come to the end of the show, my friend. Thank you for joining us. It's been one of our longest ones in a while, so that's good because it means we're gelling here, you know.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the conversation. This has been fun.
I wish it could go longer, but I am very tired. And we've got another one in the morning. But why don't you tell our listeners and viewers where they can stay up to date with what you're doing, anything you want to plug the magazine again, plug the studio again, anything. We will stop talking and the floor will be yours.
Yeah, look, for anyone listening, I'll embrace the moment. I just, more than anything, that if you listen this far in the chat, and you've engaged with any of the ideas we've talked about, I want to say thank you. Second, I want to say you've got greatness in you. Go do it. Find the way. If you need help, find me. You can find me on social media at Word of Michael on X. My email address is pretty public. You can find it. So if you want to chat, I'm out there. We're TKFY Co on most things. But yeah, more than anything, beyond spruiking the wares, like I want to see my new favorite thing, come from you. If we can help, check out what the kids from yesterday are doing. And, if you love indies, support indies. And yeah, I'll give links to Jamie and stuff for the specifics. But yeah, appreciate you. And thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a blast. And yeah, look forward to seeing what you're doing grow. I've enjoyed what I've watched so far. And I've been a part of this thing twice. And I've had 2 excellent experiences. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, so guys, I will leave all of the links down in the show notes. Please check that out. Support some great indie content. And yeah, check out our sponsor, Rebecca Kearsells. Her links are down below. Our honorary sponsors, Janelle Schiecke and Alexander Robb. All their links are down below. Until next time. Oh, wait, better say it. Buy Ryan's new shirt. Buy Ryan's new shirt. It's on the screen.
Yeah.
There. Buy his shirt. And a
Buy
mug.
my shirt.
And a mug.
Just my shirt, no mug.
Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, guys, until next time, keep supporting those indie authors, and we'll catch you on the next episode.